So this is just a quick question looking at stem cells. So stem cells can be obtained from human embryos. Right, so evaluate. So if it's asking you to evaluate something, you're going to need to say a reasonable amount. The use of stem cells from a person's own bone marrow in comparison from that as an embryo. Okay, right, there are a number of key things that we can go and talk about. So the advantages of using embryos is that we can create many embryos in the labs. It's relatively painless, or it's completely painless because the embryos don't have a nervous system, and we can go and treat a multitude of different diseases with them. Big disadvantages is that it goes and it causes the death to the embryo, right? The embryo can't consent, and it's not necessarily 100% reliable, so it doesn't always work. The advantages of bone marrow is that primarily there's no ethical issues, right? It can still treat some diseases. It's a relatively safe procedure, right? So it doesn't kill the donor. We've been using it for a long time, so it's tried and tested, and the patients can go and recover relatively quickly from it. Disadvantages of bone marrow is that there's always a risk of infection from the procedure. You can only actually treat a few diseases with it, and it can be quite painful because you're drilling into somebody's bone. Right, so some of the things that we can talk about from both procedures. So the disadvantages is that there's always a risk of transferring some sort of viral infection. And some stem cells can grow out of control and become cancerous, right, in a few rare cases. Right, so they're both advantageous because they can both go and use to treat specific diseases. Right, so they're just a few key things that we need to think about when answering questions on stem cells.